What I'm trying to do is get bounce back India or bounce back Bharat stories. And as far as India Inc. is concerned, foremost in my mind is Executive Director of ICICI Lombard, Sanjeev Mantri, simply because of the way that he's been so reactive, proactive, and got his employees and himself back on their feet in double quick time. And that's what I mean by perfect synergy. Hi, good morning. Great to see you as always. And you're very comfortable in back in office. So the well-oiled machine of ICICI Lombard continues to roll on. How are you doing?
Oh, pleasure meeting you, Rishi. I think it's been a while since we have connected and truly blessed to get to meet up with you, though virtually again. Hope to meet up in your studio pretty soon. Yes, we are back in office almost for a month and a half and thereabouts, and truly feel that this is the way to operate. While there was a lot of hybrid stuff which was there, we've been on and off work, a lot of things have happened, but frankly speaking, nothing beats being in office, and interacting with real people in real manner. There is some value to it, and what the last probably 18 months have shown is a lot of gratitude to the fact that something which we had taken for granted was taken away, and now we can value this a lot more.
Wonderful. I want to know about your personal bounce back story as well as the employees. There obviously has to be a lot of planning as far as that is concerned. Helping the employees get vaccinated, yourself and the family to get vaccinated, and getting back on your feet very, very quickly. Let's cover that before we get into, more acquisitions and other data.
No, absolutely. So see the fall which happened, sometime in March in 2020 was a very steep one. The lockdown came out very sharply. Prior to that, it was all happening at a distant country in China, and we just wondering how do you lock down a city, Wuhan, when it got locked down. But from there on, the impact was pretty fast, and before we knew it, by March 22nd, 23rd, India was in a lockdown. We were all caught very unaware, and and some of the jobs were very intricately linked, like call centers and all. The team at call centers were not even having a proper equipment to operate from home. But the way we could turn around, the way our technology team could come into play, and real time solutioning could happen, so that we don't end up impacting the customers, was something to really cherish. I do believe that it took probably 2 to 3 weeks, but the new norm became the way of life for next 3 to 6 months, which I would believe also gets to the ability of each individual, because the crisis, this was very strange, right? It was individual, families, societies, and then the whole expansion happened. And so there was a corporate entity like ICICI Lombard. We've been very, very proactively engaging with our thing. We opened call centers. Even they have challenges, if there were mental challenges, they could call, and we call that santulan, and we said that please reach out and talk so that we can solve those issues, because that sometimes the physical part can be seen and taken care of, but the mental part at times is hard to manage, and you end up suffering a lot more than required. So a lot of those initiatives were taken. We created a lot of digital engagement initiatives. We used to have get together the way we used to have it, in the times when things were normal in a physical manner. We created hobby groups within our employees so that they could connect and talk to each other and inspire each other to do the best. So that's what we did at the official level. At the personal level, yes, I am a pretty reasonably physically worked out driven guy. I'm not someone who believes in doing jobs indoor or doing workouts indoor. So there was a steep fall. We were all locked into our houses, but I could, strangely enough, find stairs as a very good way to exercise. So I started using the stairs outside my house, and that became a way of life. So 2 to 3 workouts were put on the stairs side, and eventually some bit of gym equipments came in the house, and we managed our mini gym to do something or the other, because some physical thing was required. I wouldn't say it was easy, but then you adapted and moved on and made the best of what you could have at that point of time.
Wonderful. And you must appreciate that Wimbledon as well as US Open now had, crowds coming in. And it's wonderful to see even in the cricket, the IPL stands slowly filling up in the UAE. So, there is a sense of normalcy to even sport. And that's something we can really, really feed off. I want to come to now India's awareness as far as health is concerned. I'll give you a classic example, Sanjeev. Our domestic staff, we try and do a little bit. We'll tell the maid, we'll take care of your one child's education. But whenever we have tried to approach medical insurance, they've been like, why don't you just give us that amount in cash instead of getting insurance? Because there was no awareness, or their perception of wanting to get medical insurance. But I'm finally pleased to know that the domestic staff is now coming to my wife and me and saying that after this pandemic, maybe I'll take up your offer of doing a small medical insurance for me. And that must make you very happy. The role played by the industry in India is bouncing back, the backdrop of healthcare initiatives. I think let's talk about that. And this increased awareness of middle class India, and the underprivileged section of society as far as healthcare is concerned.
No, so absolutely. I think you've been spot on in what you've said. We've seen overall the health sector itself has been stretched. If I have to put some basic, stats into perspective, we've got about in a country about 2 million beds. For a country of 1.3 billion population, if we have only so many private and public bed available for hospitalization, it's a big challenge. And you got doctors with just about a million, so we're talking about one doctor for 1,500. And a pandemic of this magnitude, where percentage of population was getting impacted, we all could feel the stretch. And it's not about who has access, who has not got access. Some total medical part, I think it's required by each and every citizen, come what may. So we've seen temporary stadium getting converted into hospitals, temporary hospitals getting done in 10-15 days. So when there is will, there is way. And we could see how India as a country or healthcare sector in itself was resilient and could think on the feet and create these things. My only personal belief is I hope we realize what kind of an exigency can this be, and this would become a norm rather than being done in an exceptional manner. With this kind of a stuff, I think you also made a very critical point that when it comes to health insurance per se, we have always said that there are two things which are important. One is awareness, and the second is ability. Awareness is a function of how do you learn, how do you reach out. So the insurance sector also has been doing multiple things to make the customer aware that they should take this cover. It's not about taking it from ICICI Lombard. Come what may, you should have an insurance cover. That's where I come from, and that's a must. In fact, I maintain to all the partners who work on the health insurance side that if you give health insurance to a family or give the cover, you're doing a noble deed. It's not about a sale, it's a service you're doing to the family, because in the need it will really help. Every year, maybe almost 100 million individuals and maybe 25 million families go below poverty line on account of medical exigency. And the current times where the income was constrained, which is where the ability comes in, it would have got further impacted. That's where insurance could have stepped in and made you live your life normally while the expense on the medical part goes through. And that being said, in a way, the pandemic has done one very critical transformation. The awareness has got heightened, as you said. The helpers at home who are doing a lot for us, and we owe that to them, have realized that we need to take it. This conversation of cash versus cover, which they believe could never be used, has kind of got dissolved, because it's happened to everyone. It's spread everywhere. But now this awareness has also done one more thing. A lot of even higher class, the penetration of insurance in the country is less than 4%, Rishi. To me, that's a very, very low percent. And this I'm talking about the recent numbers. It's not that I'm talking once upon a time. So clearly the awareness coming into thing, the ability issue will continue. But the fact of the matter is now they've started realizing that this product, this particular solution is an investment and not an expense. Some of us used to buy health insurance in the past because we used to get benefit on the income tax side. They would allow you as a deduction and you'll get that benefit. Now all of those things have changed. People want to know the features of the product. People want to know what are the services that I can get if I get hospitalized. The discussions have become evolved. So this journey from expense to insurance becoming an investment is one of the most critical transformation that has happened, and that is why we are seeing a significant surge in last 12 to 18 months. This journey hopefully will continue. I'm saying at an official level, of course, we do provide solutions and products which are befitting, but this one is a one significant transformation.
Yeah, I know that it's not very important always to be reactive to something particular which happens in a country or in the world. For example, you need to have a large product structure which just covers people for whatever exigencies or contingencies that come about. But COVID is a unique situation. We never knew something like this could ever happen to us. And what I like is that ICICI Lombard was very quick in terms of providing solutions which are very COVID friendly. I'd like you to address that a bit.
Yeah, yeah, no, no, absolutely. So, in a very early phase, when this particular pandemic came into play, one of the few changes that we did was we created some features which were, as rightly put across, COVID friendly. When you buy a policy, there's a cooling period that for 30 days you cannot make claims. We said no. I mean, a person can get impacted by COVID. We reduced that period to almost 15 days. So we said better that obviously you shouldn't buy it once you've got the COVID, you cannot get the cover. But otherwise, after 15 days, you'll get ready. Another thing we realized is because of pandemic, people will get impacted in a far deeper way, and the claims will come in, and there is a bonus available if you don't make a claim in terms of your sum insured getting increased. We said if you get COVID, your sum insured bonus will not get impacted. You will still get that. So we're giving an exemption to this. Last but not the least, one of the most significant challenges that we had seen in COVID was that people reluctance to go to the hospitals for treatment, which is outside. Just because COVID was there doesn't mean other ailments were not existing. There were other challenges which were still there. People could still get viral, could get typhoid, and all of that stuff. So there could be, but the reluctance and pushing that thing of showing it to a doctor was very high. We said we'll start home care. We will make sure that as an insurer we'll help you, will guide you with the network of hospital that we operate with, and if something that can be cured at home, we will get those services to your house, and needless to say we will even pay for it. So these were the few changes that we did with the simple aspect that we need to ensure. Another thing which we did very extensively was giving you telemedicine. Your access to doctor, the best of the best, was made available. The volumes have shot shot the roof in terms of people accessing this. Previously, in the mindset of the customer, including myself, I am no different from others. We wanted to see a doctor physically. We were not comfortable accessing him in a remote manner. But now we are able to connect, do a video call, explain symptoms, and get treatment from the best of the best. And somewhere or the other, it has also released a lot of bandwidth where doctors can meet more patients and do what is required to solve the issue. So there is a significant amount of role that technology also has played to help us make access to medicine or the best of the medicine to the masses at a very consistent in a very consistent manner.
Great. Now, I was just thinking, we've had such a wonderful association over the years, but if there's one thing that we've never talked about, it's M&A, mergers and acquisitions. So this is going to be a first, and it gives me great joy and great pleasure to talk to you about this. The recent Bharti AXA acquisition by ICICI Lombard. Let's have your thoughts on that. And I think it's consolidation is a wonderful step for this industry, and this kind of an M&A is what is needed.
Yeah, I think the larger picture was yes, there are quite a few players there in the GI sector, and a little bit of consolidation can always help. But to be very honest, we are very keen. We like the what Bharti AXA has been doing, and we are truly blessed and excited to have the team members becoming part of ICICI Lombard as one unit. We do believe that we are better together. In fact, that has been the communication that we have been doing. We want to use size as an advantage to do a lot better for our customers, our clients, and reach out to as many as possible. The whole logic is that with this kind of an approach, we would be able to service and sharpen everything, be it on reaching out to customers, servicing them, or also probably using technological tools which are required, which are like AI, MI based chatbots, whatever is required. All of those accesses will be provided, and we would be better, stronger in terms of delivering what our own objective has been from day one.
Great. We're just a few days away from World Heart Day, and it irks me, and I'm sure it irks you too, that India is still called the diabetes capital of the world. Heart health is so poor in this country, and that, apart from worrying you, must also cause you to act very strongly to send out some strong messages for World Heart Day, Sanjeev.
Yeah, I think absolutely right, Rishi. There was a time when I used to believe, what is the purpose of having World Heart Day? Because heart, in particular, if you ask me, requires care every single day, right? It's a tiny organ in your body, but it plays the most critical role of keeping us alive and kicking, isn't it? But then I've realized that such days like Yoga Day, Heart Day, these are the occasions by which we can make the world notice. It's up to us as individuals how we want to practice it, right? We don't. So these are the times. So we've been, as a company being in the business of health, and and we're very keen to see a fitter India. We do believe that prevention is better than cure, and for that, it is important that our friends, colleagues, and everyone probably who's listening to Rishikesh needs to take those steps on a every day. The irony of keeping ourselves fit is, it's something which is known to us, to each one of us, but we always wait for a tomorrow to make things happen, and that at times can prove out fatal. And there are, and see, it's not one shoe fit all. Some Each one of us will have different passions. The whole idea is to use that to make things work out. If you are not a gym person, I would seriously recommend, don't go to gym, but go for a walk. It doesn't matter. If you believe you can swim and that's what you like, do that. But you must make sure that you make your heart to use. There's a saying which says, use it or lose it. Clearly, you're better off using it, so that you can create longevity and you can create a fitter life for yourself. There's some people who are unfortunate in terms of, they may have some, inherent challenges. There are cures available, there are solutions available, and worst in worst, if it is required, if there's a challenge, there are of course insurance which is there to address the need. But you must put in your effort on the right side to do solutioning which is appropriate. And to me, my personal message would be, don't wait for tomorrow. Probably start today and make sure that you keep your heart live and kicking all the time.
Super message. You've been a pioneer in terms of getting employees to engage with sports people. And some of the finest sports people in the world have come and addressed employees. You've got them to engage, also because of your primary passion, which is sport. And what a year we've had, Sanjeev. I mean, if you look at our performance in the Paralympics, if you look at our performance in the Olympics, and it must please you a lot that Neeraj Chopra goes and wins that gold in the javelin. Our hockey teams, both on the men's and the women's side, doing so well. The boxers, the shooters, and of course, the incredible Paralympians. Let's talk about that.
I think in the current times, sports as an industry was the first one to come back in action, and clearly it's amazing, right? Olympics, which takes probably once in 4 years, and so many sports on every 4 years bracket end up making the last hurrah at the Olympics, and then they retire for good. All of them had to postpone continued trainings, and the preparation, the goal, the effort. I think it's amazing to see what they go through, and the comeback trail and the performance of India as a unit. We've got used to typically picking up one or two here and there, and that's about it. This turned out to be the best effort for us as a country, and I think Neeraj Chopra's effort has transformed athletics for India forever. I remember similar thing happening to in many ways to cricket in 1983 World Cup. Then you had badminton going through a similar space where we had major people end up taking that as a sport, and you see the quality of sportsmen which have started coming. The level has changed completely. The athletics movement, I mean, great, Mr. Milkha Singh. I wish he was there to see India actually getting a gold in the stadium at that point of time. We've all lived with the regrets of PT Usha missing it on the 100th of a second. So, Rishi, for me personally, it was truly amazing, and at the same time, sports can be a reveler. You could see Djokovic not picking up the gold to get the golden slam in place. So the irony of life continues, and then he went on to even lose the US Open, so he could not pick up all four of the slams also. But that is life, that's what is exciting, and we feel truly blessed to see that. Sports was the first one to come back into normal stream, and now with people in the stadium, as you said, again we see good times ahead for all of us.
Lovely. ICICI Lombard GIC. Please find them on social media, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn, and follow them. Sanjeev is Sanjeev Mantri, SANJEEV Mantri. You can follow him on LinkedIn, on Twitter, as well as Instagram. Listen, our conversations with you are an absolute pleasure. Thank you for speaking to me about your bounce back story. And I wish ICICI Lombard GIC all the best under your excellent leadership.
Thank you so much, Rishikesh, and hopefully look forward to seeing you soon in person. And pleasure, always a pleasure being on chat with you. Thank you.
Cheers.